All right, folks, check this out. I'm going to show y'all how I prime my bioheat composter, or how I might prime a compost pile that I'm getting ready to generate some heat with. And in addition to priming the pile, I'm also going to be inoculating it with a bunch of really robust bacteria and some fungi that I've been making in the compost tea. I'm going to turn you around and show you what that looks like. That's not the only thing I'm going to add, though. There's my compost tea, nice chocolate brown. It's got plenty of fungi, plenty of bacteria, all kinds of stuff. But I'm gonna go ahead and add some of this compost maker made by Bonide. I don't sell for Bonide, I don't make money off of Bonide, but I use this because it works in my region. I don't know if it works in your region. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay a light layer of this stuff, there you can see that, over the top of the compost tea. I do it now. I don't want to do it before. I don't want to do it while I'm making the compost tea because it puts way too many organic decomposers in play that I don't want. I want my compost teas to be, a little different. But in any event, that little bit that I put on top is going to be enough of an antagonist that it's going to actively engage in the soil, in the media, and it's going to start to break it down very, very quickly. All I have to do is pour that on top of that. There you can see the compost pile. It's pretty daggone big. It's a slow burn compost pile. It has to be. The system's actually running right now. If I stop talking, you'd hear it. But we've got cover over there because I want the sun to hit that cover. It's black, that's EPDM. And I want the solar radiation to warm the pile on that side. Over here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the compost catalyst on top of this. One last mention before I go ahead and show you all how I pour this stuff on there. If you're wondering why I'm still running the compost heat generator during the day when the sun is out, you can clearly see the sun in the background. The reason why I'm doing that is because, well, the greenhouse is pretty well sealed because it's wintertime, and all of the windows, there's 4 windows, they're basically taped closed, Velcroed and taped closed, so I don't open them on the regular. But what I can do during the day is I can actually run the compost heater through there, and it'll pull the warm air in the greenhouse into the pile, and it'll start transferring some of that warmth into the pile. We like that. But while it's doing that, it's actually helping to moderate temperatures. It's helping to bring temperatures down into a range that the plants like. So I'll give you an example. Earlier this morning when I first looked at my temperatures, the temperatures were in excess of 86 degrees and climbing. All I had to do was hit a button on my phone, throw the switch, and the fan turns on to cycle the air through the compost pile. And since the compost pile isn't quite that hot yet because we just made it, I'm going to cover why that is in a few days. What ends up happening is the energy transfer from the inside of the greenhouse comes into the compost pile, and it is essentially heat sinked into the compost pile. So it becomes super instrumental in adding warmth to the inside of the compost pile during the day. Later on at night, it gets cycled on by a thermostat. When the temperatures drop below its set point, that little blower turns on and it starts to cycle the moderated temperatures through the system again. Again, in this particular case at night, it starts to warm the greenhouse. So just want you to imagine, let's just say we've got these 25 or so yards of compost here on the brew, because there is some compost from last year, and it contains the energy to hold a moderated temperature of approximately 80 degrees. On the whole, for composting, we're not yet thermophilic, but it's a robust 80 degrees, okay? And that means that I can bring 180 degrees into it if the greenhouse was 180 degrees during the day, and that 80-degree compost will cool the 180-degree air. It's still going to be close to 80 degrees when night falls. Maybe it'll be 85. Okay, I'm keeping an eye on that stuff. Then what happens is night falls and the temperature drops significantly. Typically, at this time of the year, it drops down to freezing. But the compost pile in this equation is still 80 degrees. The thermostat kicks the fan on, and it cycles the cold air through the compost, and it converts the cold air to warm air. Will the air be 80 degrees when it pulls out of there? When it blows into the greenhouse? No, it won't be, and it doesn't have to be. If we've got a standing temperature in the compost pile of 80 degrees, we'll probably have 50 or 60 degrees blowing into the greenhouse. It's usually about a 20 or 30 degree loss. But believe it or not, when the temperature is 8 degrees or 10 degrees or 20 degrees outside, and your compost pile is pushing 50 degree heat into it, your nightshades are happy. Okay? So y'all want to see Creedmoor Fury work, so I'm going to do it for you. This is a very sophisticated system, folks. Very sophisticated. It's called the all-purpose system. Y'all see that? That was it. You're not impressed, are you? Gardening's not always impressive. Anyway, I'm just having fun with y'all. Hopefully that makes sense. I want to kind of try to add some more information as it becomes available to me so that I can share some of this journey to you. Let me tell you, when I first made this bioheat system many years ago, our first iteration, we didn't know how to make compost hot. You know, I would either make the compost too hot or it'd be too cold, and it wouldn't really do me much good. And what I realized was, if I made the compost too hot initially, the compost would burn up really, really quick. It'd become denatured, all kinds of bad things happen. You get these bad anaerobic metabolites that are pushing through and into your compost, and they basically never really mitigate. They just stay there. So I had no idea, okay, until I got involved in the soil food web of things and started to realize how to really thermophilically compost my stuff. Once I realized how to do that, I stopped burning up my compost and pushing nitrogen streams into the, well, back there. And when I stopped burning up my compost, the compost got better. I found that even after maybe a month, 30 days, and very little turning, that the compost was really quite good. I knew it was quite good because I'd take a bit of it, I mix it with some water gently, and I put it under the microscope and take a look. Boom, done. It's not hard to do. So where did that lead me to? I'm going to tell you where it led me to. It led me to the realization that you want a slow and steady burn on this type of compost. I don't want to burn this up. I don't need this to run up to 150 degrees Fahrenheit, because if it runs up to 150 degrees Fahrenheit, you know what's going to happen after that? The temperature's going to fall. Instead, I want slow burn. Slow burn. Instead, I want my compost to come up to temperature over the course of a few days. And then what I want to do is I want to manage it and maintain that temperature consistently above the outside air temperatures at night. So if nighttime is 32 degrees, we got to have that compost that's going to have a 30-degree buffer. Compost has got to be up there around 50 or 60 degrees. Now, if I run it up to 180 degrees, it's anaerobic. I'm not making good, it's not compost. At 180 degrees, it's not compost, okay? I said it. Shoot me. You can't shoot me. I'm unshootable. All right, ranting and raving again. At 150 degrees, it is compost. You want to know when we're going to reach 150 degrees here? It'll probably be a week and a half. And I need it to be a week and a half. I need it to be that long. It can't happen overnight. If it happens overnight, that means I put way too much nitrogen in the pile, and I didn't follow the carbon to nitrogen ratio rule. Uh-oh, Creedmoor's getting ugly. Let me turn my hat around so I don't look so bad. Yeah, the first ones that we made, they jacked right up. You know, we used all kinds of manures in them. The temperatures went crazy, sky high, very, very quickly. And then they petered out. I realized that, you know what? It got to 150 or 160 degrees in 2 days, and now I got to turn the dang pile. And I'm not about turning the pile. You see this back right here? I got old man back. You know what old man back is? Old man back does not want to lift compost. He doesn't want to turn dirt. I don't want to do that stuff. Do you? You don't. You really don't. Nobody does. So when we ran the temperatures up to 150 plus degrees in only a few days, the piles essentially reduced really quickly. And, you know, they ran somewhat uncontrollably through heat. And the real problem I had was that I was burning up the heat faster than I was able to utilize the heat to warm my greenhouse. What does it mean? Well, it's pretty simple, folks. If I make the compost pile superheated and it's 180 degrees, we went anaerobic, we're not making compost, we're making heat, and all the heat's on the outside of the greenhouse. It's not doing me any good. Plus, if it was in the inside of the greenhouse, composting in the greenhouse. Temperatures like that, they give off volatile organic compounds in the form of gases. Then the plants have these things, they're called stomata, on their leaves and some of the stems. They open them when the temperature is right because you made it warm in there, and instead of breathing carbon dioxide, they're breathing toxicity. So we don't compost on the inside. Plus, putting compost on the inside means there's less room for plants. So why don't I pile compost over the top of my greenhouse? Come on, y'all are thinking these questions. I know you are. I know you are. Don't lie to me. Y'all are lying to me already, aren't you? Wait, I'm not pointing at you. I'm pointing at my next door neighbor. Y'all don't lie to me. You don't even talk to me. Sometimes you do. But no. The reality is that if I were to use an enormous amount of wood chips to cover up the film on my greenhouses, or just make gigantic piles of compost and then cover them with plastic, I'm really using too many natural resources. It's that simple. You know, I'm a naturalist. I'm not an industrialist. I believe in working hard for what I believe is right. Food security, that's right. I don't want to cut every tree down just to satisfy the needs of my back-to-Eden garden. No, I'm using waste that was cut for whatever reason. I'm using the waste stream to do what I got to do. I don't want to have to use 100 times the amount. I've got it to the point where I can use 20 to 40 yards of compostable material, and I get the results that I need. Creedmoor doesn't live in Ohio. Chicago. No, I live in North Carolina, and until 2020, whatever year it is, 2025, you know, we didn't have the cold we have this year. I can't remember when we did. It was probably 2001 or 2 when we had cold like this. So no, y'all don't feel sorry for me. I got this together, okay? I might not even edit this video just because I'm so jazzed about how it's coming out. Because the information is important. And my mentor told me, produce your videos with good quality information that people can relate to, and everything's gonna go well for you. So what I'm gonna do is, my promise to you is, I'm just gonna tell you the truth. I'm a silly dude. I spend a lot of time in the garden. I do an enormous amount of research. My lab is right there. I believe in the biology and the life, because life begets life. So, not too surprisingly, I'm using the life of the soil to generate heat. The carbon to nitrogen ratio, 30-1. That's it. That's what we want in the end. Y'all might be able to hear in the distance, the temperature's dropping. I'm out here in a sweatshirt, but temperature's falling really, really quick. And we are now running auxiliary heat and biocompost heat at the same time. So the temperatures, what will end up happening is the two together will work together. Temperatures will rise sufficiently, and then both thermostats will shut everything off. So I'm going to try and get in the greenhouse in as soon as I can, and I want to show you all the controls. But you know, I'm so busy right now. I don't know which way is up or which way is down. Tell me on the compost replies down below whether or not you think that you might like to see a live session where I'm actually doing the work and you guys can interact with me through maybe a special interpreter who might be monitoring the phone or the computer. Y'all think that would be a cool exercise? I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's crazy. There's a lot to share. When I'm not making videos, I'm writing. If you want to gain access to me and you're not already aware of where I usually spend my days, I'm in the garden, and every once in a while I get a notification on my phone and it says, hey, I'm in Iowa and I got a problem with my potatoes because there's a bug eating them. And since I have every bug in the universe right here, see, here, I've got a lot of experiences with bugs, large and small. So I stop what I'm doing and I reply to them. Sometimes it's a long-winded response, but it's the kind of response that I know they can use. And I'm trying to produce quality content, whether I'm writing it, typing it, or showing it. So if you haven't already done so, and you know you feel so inclined to do so, please click the like button so the algorithm tells, I don't know what the algorithm tells, okay? First of all, I'm not even that good of a YouTuber, okay? I'm a gardener. I mentioned that before. Anyway, if you click the like button, the algorithm's gonna know you like the video content. Then it's gonna push my content up the list into the daily feed, and more of you are gonna learn how to manage your own food security. Oh yeah, I got a lot of stuff coming up in the near future, and I don't think you're gonna wanna miss it. We're gonna be discussing things like chemical contamination. We're going to be discussing things like biological decontamination. We're going to be discussing things like the dirty word I don't even like to use because it's an acronym, PFAS. It ain't a cheer. I can tell you that right now. But we're going to talk about it. Y'all be good. I hit 15 minutes and I'm done. Like, subscribe, share.